gather together today as a dear. Can you hear me?
No.
Can you turn up the volume, please?
We gather together today as the dear family and friends of Ellen Jane Sigman. As we mourn her loss, must also celebrate the full, rich life she lived.
Still can't hear you.
Death has taken our beloved Ellen. Friends grieve in the darkened world.
Rabbi Marcus, can we take a break until everyone can hear it? There's a lot of traffic. A lot louder. It suggests that you move the microphone closer to you. And
It's very close.
Now it's better.
That's better.
Okay,
Much
that's-
better. Thank
It's the
you.
speaker, I think.
It's too
Yes,
close.
speaker.
We gather together today as a dear family and friends of Ellen Jane Sigman. As we mourn her loss, let's also celebrate the life she lived. Death has taken our beloved Ellen. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For her love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For her companionship which we shared along life's path and which still continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and her mind which brought us joy and happiness and now become a precious heritage of the Spirit. For all these and more, God, we give you our praise. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'nai lekach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people were well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai natan, God you have given, who gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Proverbs 31. Eshet chayil mi'imsad rachok mikmi mikra. A woman of valor who can find, she is more precious than fine pearls. Her family trusts in her, so they lack nothing. She does them good, never harm, all the days of her life. She perceives that her laborers in mourning are candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to the poor. She's clothed in strength and dignity. She faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom, law of kindness is on her lips. Her family rise up and bless her, children sing her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. I know Ellen loved painting and coloring, and I'd like to share a poem written by Tali Sorek, a 13-year-old girl from Beersheba, Israel. I had a paint box, each color glowing with delight. I had a paint box with colors warm and cool and bright. I had no red for wounds and blood. I had no black for the orphan's grief. I had no white for the face of the dead. I had no yellow for burning sands. But I had orange for the joy of life. I had green for buds and blooms. I had blue for clear, bright skies. I had pink for dreams and rest. I sat down and painted peace. And Ellen was so concerned with the state of Israel and the attack on October 7th. She often said to Lana, I'm praying for Israel at services this Shabbat, so I wanted to share, and Justin asked to share a prayer for Israel. Avinu Sheba Shamayim Sor Yisrael V'Gomelo Bereka B'dinat Yisrael Reshit Tzmichat U'Batenu Hagen Alecha Bezrat Hastecha Ufros Alecha Sukkot Shlomecha. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, Rock and Redeemer of the people of Israel. Bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over to shelter your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace, its inhabitants with lasting joy, and let us all say, Amen. A poem by Kathy Zink. Take time to talk, for you may ask of all things unknown to you. Take time to laugh, for smiles relinquish sorrow and spread happiness. Take time to think, for the realm of knowledge is never ending. Take time to see, for there is beauty in every part of the world around you. Take time to feel, for the emotions of your heart often control the reasoning of your mind. Take time to live, for each day is filled with new opportunities that will be gone tomorrow. Take time to dream, for survival is forever challenging the powers of your imagination. Take time to love, for the sharing of all these things is a true miracle of life. Adonai roi lo exar, bina deshe yarbitseni, omeman choti nachaldeni. If you're familiar with the words of the 23rd Psalm, please join me now. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemy. And anointing my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. The Baal Shem Tov, the Hasidic Rebbe, once observed that there are three ways we mourn. The first is with tears, the second is with silence, and the third is with song. When we mourn someone truly beloved, we experience all three. Tears at first, then silence as our grief settles more deeply, and finally song as we're able to celebrate the memories we hold deep in our hearts. So today may be a time for tears as we say our final goodbyes to Ellen. We'll each remember Ellen in our own way, Alana and Justin. You'll remember Ellen as your devoted mother, William and Ava, Bobby and Lori. You will remember Ellen as your beloved sister and sister-in-law. Megan, Michelle and Eric, Melissa, Morgan and Anthony, Taylor and Michael. You will all remember Ellen as your dear aunt. And Ellen was an adoring great aunt to Carson, Mason, Carolyn, Cameron, and Addison. Ellen was born in Cincinnati on October 27, 1952, to Elaine and Maury Sigman. She was the middle child between her two brothers, William and Bobby. Her family fondly called her Janie. The Sigman family moved to Cleveland in 1965. Ellen graduated from Heights High in 1970. Then she studied at the University of Cincinnati and was one of the first women to graduate as an X-ray technician. Ellen married Nick. Theirs was one of the first weddings at Green Road Synagogue. They moved out to California, where Alana was born in 1984 and then Justin in 1988. Interestingly, Rabbi Scott was a rabbinic student in LA at the time and officiated their baby naming and bris. Ellen wanted to move back to Cleveland to be closer to her family. So in 1997, they moved back here and immediately joined Park Synagogue because of their relationship with Rabbi Scott. In fact, on Justin's first day in Cleveland, he started at Park Day Camp. They first settled in University Heights, and the kids attended Agnon Day School. Ellen was so happy volunteering to be room mother and getting involved in all the kids' activities. Ellen also volunteered with Project Love and got very involved in Park Synagogue. She loved coming to our Rosh Chodesh women's events and sisterhood classes and lunches. She also liked coming to Shabbat and holiday services. Ellen also worked for her brother Billy at his company. When Ellen became ill and ended up at Menorah Park, she became very close to Rabbi Kirsch. He called her Esther Hamalka, or Queen Esther, after her Hebrew name. Ellen enjoyed all the Jewish cultural activities at Menorah Park and went to Shabbat services regularly. She particularly loved Jewish songs. They mentioned Ellen was very upset about the attack on Israel on October 7th and had been praying for Israel every Shabbat. Ellen was very artistic. She loved to draw, paint, make ceramics, and whenever Alana and Justin visited, she gave them a gift that she had made. Ellen was creative throughout her entire life. She loved to dance, sing, and listen to music. Her brothers told me, especially the Beatles and David Bowie. At Menorah Park, Ellen liked to visit the parrots and get them to talk to her and feed them almonds from her hand. Ellen had a very big heart. She wouldn't hurt a fly. And she was a strong woman to the very end. Last week, when the doctors called Alana and Justin, they realized this time this illness was different. They rushed to be by their mother's side as quickly as possible, just praying the doctors could keep her alive overnight. But their mother waited for them. And even after she was taken off the ventilator, she woke up for another day to talk and to say goodbye. Ellen demonstrated that she wanted to die on her own terms. She wanted all of you to remember her as a loving, strong woman. But as Justin's rabbi said, Ellen's soul still had a mission. Last Friday night, she brought all of you together. Her brothers and sisters-in-law and all 7 cousins sat together as Rabbi Kirsch led you in a Shabbat service. Family was the most important thing to Ellen, and that is how she wanted to celebrate the very end. And so, today may be a time for tears. We are saddened by the loss of Ellen, but we learn much from her, especially how to care for one another. Let these tears serve to strengthen and uphold you as a family. There's a story in our tradition about a rabbi who once passed a woman planting trees. "Woman," he called, "why are you planting those trees? You won't live to see them blossom." The woman replied, "My ancestors planted trees, not for themselves, but for us, that we might enjoy their shade and their fruit. I do the same for all those who come after me." Ellen planted an orchard for each one of us, an orchard filled with devotion and love, and these will always be here for us. We must be grateful that we're able to share in Ellen's life. Tomorrow there'll be fewer tears, more silence. As the Baal Shem Tov noted, it will be a time for pondering, a time for contemplation. Ellen will become a greater part of our characters and our beings as we integrate the memories and the values she taught us into our own selves. But finally there'll come a time for song. The time will come we can celebrate Ellen and recall all that we learned from her and how she touched each of our lives. May she rest in peace. Zecher Tzidakha Levarcha. May the memory of Ellen Jane Sigman be a blessing. And let us all say amen. I'd now like to invite Morgan to share some personal words about her Aunt Ellen.
Good morning. Thank you, Rabbi Marcus, for those really kind and special words. I'm Morgan, Bobby's daughter, Ellen's niece, and I'm so honored to be here celebrating the life of my Aunt Ellen, also fondly called Jamie in our family after her middle name, Ellen Jane. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
I had the benefit. Louder, Dad?
Loud voice. We hear it all the time.
Don't you have your hearing aids in?
That's better.
Okay. I had the benefit of knowing Aunt Ellen as my fun, funky, and funny aunt.
Yeah.
She had a special relationship with all of us nieces. For me, I'll never forget how she was there for us after Taylor and my mom died. She made me pancakes and laid on the couch with me, and I'll never forget how she was immediately there for us. Especially my dad, her brother. She was there for him during that time. She was right there. And I'll never forget that. Michelle has awesome memories of her healthy and holistic side. When Michelle became first sick with this autoimmune disease that no one really knew what it was about, it was actually her Aunt Janie on the phone telling her all the tricks and remedies to try to give her the confidence to stick to her guns and get her body healed. And it really, really helped. Melissa remembers a ton of awesome times. She's older than the rest of us cousins, and she had a lot of fun times with Aunt Ellen. She remembers actually staying with you guys in California shopping and going to Universal Studios and Disneyland with Megan, Michelle, and Justin. At her house, she would always show us her dream catchers, her special gemstones, and all kinds of cool trinkets. She was definitely the fun, dancing, hippie at heart, cool aunt. My dad and Uncle Billy got the good fortune of knowing her as their sister. They tell great stories about growing up in Cincinnati. Her and Uncle Billy actually, I just learned, shared a bedroom when she was born, and then living together here in Cleveland. I loved hearing them talk about going in a limo, VIP style, to the David Bowie concert, enjoying music and nature, her spirituality, and loving life together as siblings. She remembered that story of going with my dad to David Bowie as sharp as a tack all these years. You know, Alana, she would bring that up like all the time. Big claim to fame, really cool. And that was all because of her. Another hilarious story we all know is when she single-handedly created the horseradish prank, telling her little brother Bobby at Passover to take a big bite of the applesauce. It was really white horseradish, not good. He'll never forget it. Pardon me. The prankster, the fun sister. Bobby has always described her as being the most popular girl in school. That's all I've ever heard my whole life. The most beautiful, with the most friends. She knew everyone and anyone. People were drawn to her and her passion for life. Lori says when she first met Bobby, no one really knew who Bobby Sigman was, apparently, but tons of people would say, is he related to Ellen Sigman? Because so many people knew her. And Ava, my Aunt Ava, remembers when she got married to Uncle Billy, and Aunt Ellen gave her a package, including this big, long soap opera t-shirt with signatures on it. We sat around the table last night just totally cracking up about this. Justin actually found a box of like a ton of these infamous t-shirts when going through her stuff. So apparently she had some kind of hookup with a bunch of these super cool t-shirts, and she wanted to share the love. So that was funny. As wonderful of an aunt and sister she was, of course her most important role was as a mother. I'll just stay on this prankster note quickly if you'll indulge me a little bit longer. Justin says that when he was younger, his mom would joke that he was born in the San Diego Zoo. Apparently it actually went on for a long time, and she would be super straight-faced about it, to the point that this very smart person decided he actually needed to be sure. And he did an online ancestry test just to investigate this. When a blood relative came back named Michelle, he decided that this was evidence enough that he in fact was not actually born in the zoo. And just so everyone knows, this was actually just a few years ago. So well into his 30s he discovered this and finally put the prank to rest. I'm still laughing about that. So she was super silly. When Justin moved to China, she would joke, my son lives in China, my daughter lives in Mars. Speaking of China, we all know how successful Justin became due to his drive and great business sense with respect to the relationships he cultivated in China. We all know how spiritually intuitive Aunt Ellen was. Well, Justin would actually consult with her and have her consider what vendors he should work with and help drive actual business decisions that he made. She'd use her pendulum and make some really incredible predictions. And he wholeheartedly described her as being so right most of the time. He would ask her, are you sure? And she said she was positive. And that's pretty cool, and he'll always remember that. Alana lovingly called her mom Queen Esther, since my aunt thought she was like the queen of everything. And it's also after her Hebrew name. Alana had amazing memories of her childhood in California. Going to the Ivy for lunch, going to Justin's baseball games, shopping, and being carted around everywhere by her mom, staying busy doing tons of activities like ballet and sports and art. When Aunt Ellen went into Menora Park, Alana made countless visits to bring her clothes from Nordstrom, cute shoes, put on face masks together, get her hair done, do coloring projects. They'd make necklaces and pictures and stickers for my kids. listen to music, dress up, and be silly. All the stuff she loved. Everyone here knows how successful Alana and Justin are in their respective fields. And you should be so proud of yourselves every single day, because that's exactly what she would want for you. I want to highlight Ellen's strength. We all know the last 5 to 10 years she was sick, and probably sicker than we all even thought or knew. She was just being really, really strong. As Rabbi Marcus briefly touched on, there's this rabbi through Chabad where Justin goes in Miami, and Justin was talking to him about how she was declining last week, and this Rabbi Menachem said to Justin, your mom has a very special soul, and she has not finished her mission. At the time, Justin wasn't entirely sure what this meant, but he jumped on a plane to Cleveland and got right to his mom. Justin thought to himself, what could she possibly do in just a few days to complete any sort of mission? And then the family started coming together. And I mean really coming together. Morning to night, every day, we came together and we were truly there for each other. Blaring the Beatles, Aunt Ellen's unbelievable strength allowed her to hold on a few more days. And we truly believe this was to ensure every member of our family made it to be together. Most of us had been to see her, but Michelle was still flying in from Florida, and she and Megan came Friday night. It was Shabbat. And we looked around us, and finally the whole family was in one room. We hadn't all been together since my wedding in 2015, over 8 years. And there you had it. In a deep rest and unable to speak, this crazy, cool, wild lady we all know and love got her entire family in one room for the first time in more than 8, almost 9 years. Soon after, Rabbi Kirsch from Menorah Park, who loves her dearly and had a wonderful relationship with her, he walks in. It's nearly midnight. We're all there. Finally, a real rabbi is here, and the stars continue to align. And he prayed over her, and he sang countless songs and prayers with our family. We hummed, we hugged, we loved, and we surrounded her with that love. And we all really, truly felt it. It was so spiritual, so peaceful, and just really absolutely special. So what's the message? Love each other, be together, stick together, support each other, be silly with each other. Show your strength, and don't let anyone break it until all of your missions and all of your goals have been realized and accomplished. I know if there's anything she'd want me to say, it's this. Thank you to all of you. Everyone sitting here meant so much to her. Thank you for being here. She loved being loved by you. Thank you, Rabbi Marcus, for making her an honorary member of Park Synagogue, and for being there for her and Alana and Justin in these final moments. That is very special to the family, and as she's looking down, she is so happy and excited about becoming an honorary member. Thank you, Alana, for stepping up for the entire family and carrying the load of countless visits, phone calls, and breaks from work. Justin, remember the level of strength you are truly capable of, and let it continue to drive you wherever you want to go. You both did everything you could for her to make her life better. And now she'll be looking down on you from heaven to watch all the amazing things you do with her guidance, with the morals she instilled in you, and the love of family she's left you surrounded by. Aunt Ellen, there will never be a day we don't miss you, but we'll carry your love with us and be sure your wild stories will live on forever. as we stick together as a family, and we'll never stop talking about the magical Ellen Jane, Queen Esther angel, who is now finally at total peace. Mission accomplished.
Thank you for your beautiful words. If you're able, please rise now for Elmole Rachamim. Elmole Rachamim, Shochen V'Romim, Hamsei Menocha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Chashchina, in Kiddushim HaTehoron, Zohar Harakia Masirin, et Nishmat, Esther Bat Moshe V'Chana, Shalacha L'Olamo, Baal HaRachamim Asirechu B'Seter K'Nefav L'Olamim, V'Yitzor B'Yitzor HaChaim et Nishmata, V'Naihu Nachalata, V'Tenuach B'Shalom HaMishkava V'Nomar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved Ellen Jane Sigman, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. And pause for a moment as we lower the coffin.